Okay, good morning, everyone, and welcome to our week 10, which is our final session. We have our graduation ceremony tomorrow, which probably you're already aware of. However, this is not the last time that we can see each other or meet each other and speak with each other. You will have access to your Olive teachers, your Olive tutors in the future, and you can come back anytime that you have a question or you need something that we can help. In today's session, I'm going to take you through an overview and a summary of the last 9 weeks. I'm going to give you some practical advice and guidance that you can take into account when planning for your future. And I'm going to give you a roadmap in terms of the main steps you need to take in order to achieve the goal of entering higher education, continuing with the training, or applying for the jobs that you would like to apply. I start with what was the purpose of Olive. So basically, what we have done in the last 9 weeks and today, week 10, we try to show you, first of all, where you are in terms of the UK education system and the UK job market. When you know where you are, and hopefully most of you by now, you have a better understanding of where you are in that journey, then the next purpose was to give you information about the options that you have, different opportunities, different support that is available. For instance, if you need to apply for university, what are the options that you have? Or if you're not interested in university, you have other options for training, for job-related training, or for starting to work here in the professions that you like. And then to help you to plan for your future based on the options that you have and your goals. For instance, if you would like to start an undergraduate based on the options that you have, what are the steps and how do you plan to get to the stage that you want? And then the main purpose was for you to achieve what you want. It's not about us telling you what to do. It's about supporting you to achieve what you would like to achieve in your education and in your employment, because you are the best person who knows yourself and the best person who can plan for you. So hopefully by now, you know where you are. You are familiar with the options that you have and different pathways that you can pursue and take. And you have some plans in terms of what I need to do this year and what I need to do next year and what I need to do in the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years. And you have some more clear ideas about what is the goal. So do you want to go to university? Or do you prefer to go to college to do some vocational training? Or do you prefer to start a job right away? So we went through these steps as well. So we've learned together that if you want to plan for future, it's very important to understand your current situation. You have some skills, some qualification, some experience from the countries that you are from, or from any other country, or even from the UK. So you need to understand how you can use your previous qualification, skills, and experiences. You need to understand the strengths that you have, as well as the areas that you need to improve yourself, such as you need probably to improve your language in terms of writing, reading, listening, and so on. You need to improve your information about different job sectors here in the UK and other areas that you need to improve. And you need to have a very good understanding of your current personal situation in terms of your immigration status. If you're still in that asylum seeking process and waiting for your decision to come, then you have different options than those with refugee status. Also, if you are a single person and you don't have family commitments, you may have other options that people with family commitments with children, they may not have. So they should plan differently. And again, it may be because of your financial situation. Some people can afford some courses, others cannot. For some people, if you are unemployed, you can access to some kind of funding. Other people, if you work, probably you may not have access to that. For some of you, there are scholarships available. For some of you, you can use student finance. So you need to be aware of how your financial situation first, and then how your immigration status can affect the options that you have and what are the best options considering your situation. So understanding your current situation is so important. The next part is to define your goals and aspirations, because if you don't know what you want to do, basically it's difficult. It would be difficult to plan, as well as it will be difficult for others like us to help you, because we need to know whether you want to go to university or you want to go to training or you want to go to a job market. Otherwise, how it's possible for us to help. So first of all, you need to understand and you need to plan and you need to decide what you want to achieve in short and long term. So this year, this next 6 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years. What are the ideal careers, the jobs that you are interested in, or the kind of education that you are interested in? Do you want to study medicine, or do you want to study social science, or do you want to study engineering? And you need to set a specific goals. When do you plan to go to university? Is it this year, next year, the following year? And then based on that, how do you want to meet the requirements? So if you want to go to university, first of all, you need to have the language level. So, and language learning may take time. So if you need IELTS 6, you need to plan how long would it take for you to have that IELTS 6 before applying for university. And then based on what is your plan, you need to identify your needs and requirements. If you apply to university for undergraduate, you need to at least have a level 2 or level 3 high school diploma or college diploma from your country or from here. If you don't have it, then you need to plan how to have it before applying to university. And then the last one, having gone through all those steps, the last step is having a clear understanding of the steps that you need to take, breaking down your goals into smaller tasks, and then deciding which one is the priority. For instance, probably for everyone here, language is the first priority. Whatever you want to do depends on whether you can get that language to that language level or not. The other priority for some of you could be starting a job, working as soon as you can, because it improves your financial situation, but at the same time, it gives you some flexibility in terms of you can plan, because when you don't have that financial support, it's difficult to plan for your future. Then you need to have a timeline in terms of when you're going to do what and how long would it take for you to take each steps and moving on to the next step, and trying to identify the potential barriers. So if I need to have that language level, that language course, that IELTS course, that IELTS exam, what are the barriers? I need some training. So where to find that training? I need some money. Where to find that financial support and money to pay for my exam? So these are the steps. Have all of them again in your mind, and I'm going to take you through some more in detail roadmap as to how to decide and how to plan. if you remember, I started my first week with 3 Ps: planning, patience, and perseverance. And by planning, I mean you should start going beyond just thinking about things. You need to have some plans on paper, because if a goal without a plan is just a wish. Everyone would like to have a good job, making good money. That's a wish, okay? As long as you start planning for that, you start saying that, okay, to become a teacher, I need to improve my English and then go to university and have some job experience. As long as you have these 3 steps in mind and start planning for that, it becomes a goal, not a wish. Then you need to be patient, because all of these steps, they take time. But just remember, from the very beginning, I was just encouraging you to look forward, because it's not about how many years you worked in your country or you studied in your country. It's not waste of time. It's about looking ahead and saying that you need to work here in this country for 30 years, 35 years, 40 years, depending on your age. But for most of you, you still need to work for 30 to 40 years. So always have that in mind, how many years you have ahead of yourself, and then plan based on that. If you think about 30 years, then 2, 3, 4 years of learning English, going to university, going to college, having work experience, working as a volunteer, that's not too much, okay? Always think about, it takes time, but you are thinking about the next 30 years in your life. And then perseverance. Sometimes you cannot achieve what you want. Sometimes you may fail. You send an application to a university and they don't give you the offer that you want. You send a job application, but they don't give you the interview. You go to an interview, but they don't give you the job that you applied for. So there are failures along the way, but the point is you need to keep trying and trying and trying, because if you don't try again, you're not going to achieve what you want. So don't be disappointed and frustrated by failures, and have that perseverance, which is hard work you do after you get tired of doing the hard work you already did. And it's not just for you. To have good opportunities, you need to compete. It's not just because you are here as an immigrant or as a refugee. Even people who live here and who are from here, for university, for good jobs, for good salary, they need to compete, okay? And they need to, sometimes they fail, and then they need to get up and try again. So have these 3 Ps in mind when you plan. Okay, so this is the course overview. In the last 10 weeks, we started with understanding the UK education system, the pre-16, which is the high school, post-16, which is college, undergraduate and postgraduate. We had some discussions about vocational training, different kind of job-related training available if you're not interested in taking a university course. So what are the other options to train yourself and improve your skills for employment? Also, we had some sessions on UK job market, how to find jobs and how to apply for jobs, and how you prepare your application and interview to increase your chance of being successful in your job application. That's the overview, and I'm going again to take you through step-by-step points that we covered during our course. So in terms of education, these are the main takeaways. And if you still need more information, you need to go back. You have now access to all the slides, and you have access to the links to more kind of complementary information through the slides. So if there is any area that you still need more information, go back to the slides for that particular topic, for that particular week, and then try to read again. And in each slide, during each week, I added some links that you can just follow, and that takes you to a place, a website, an organization where you can find more information and support if needed. You need to understand the UK qualifications and how your qualification from your country is assessed and evaluated here in the UK. And I showed you the different levels of education here, and I'm going to take you through those levels one final time in the next slide. You are now familiar with UCAS portal, and UCAS is the best place to find the information that you need about undergraduate and postgraduate opportunities in UK universities. So if you need to know anything about any particular course, you can go to UCAS portal and find out more about, okay, what is the entry requirement, or what are the entry requirements for psychology undergraduate or postgraduate in University of Bristol. And that's the best and the most reliable and up-to-date place that you can find all the information that you need. If you don't have the entry requirement to enter high school, the best option for many of you is to considering access courses. So before going to university, you can apply for access courses in your local college, and then during that year of access course, they will prepare you to apply for university, and it increases your chance of having a university place. Especially if you are still waiting for your asylum claim to be processed, that's not the end of work. It doesn't mean that you don't have options to study. There are many universities offering sanctuary scholarships, and you have access to the list of sanctuary scholarships in previous slides. So go through those options and see any of those opportunities is suitable for you. For undergraduate, for postgraduate, some of them, they support foundation years as well. And one thing that you need to do, all of us, we need to do, if English is not your first language, and if you are planning to stay and work and study in an English language country, there is no end to learning English. Okay, it's not about, okay, I'm going to learn English for 3 years and that's it. You keep learning and learning and learning until you are alive, basically. So every day, every week, every month, have some plans on how to improve your English. Improve your English for your university, improve your English for job, and improve your English for daily life, for interacting with others and socializing with other people. And that doesn't need to be like just going to college, but make sure that every day you have something in English in your life, reading something, listening to something, watching something, speaking with someone in English. And that helps you to constantly improve your fluency in the language. And if you do that every day, after 6 months, after a year, you will start to see how you are far better in your language proficiency. Because one problem is, many of us, we don't practice English every day. And that's important. If you go to college today and don't practice tomorrow and then the following day, and then go to college again on Monday, it takes 10 years to get to level of proficiency that you want. But if you do it every day, today I'm going to college, tomorrow I'm listening something, the next day I'll do a volunteer job speaking with someone in English. So if you do it every day, even for half an hour, for 1 hour, 2 hours, whatever you can, then after 6 months or a year, most of you, you will be able to get to the level that you need to go to university. So these are the main takeaways. I'm going to, you are probably now familiar with this framework. So these are the levels of UK education system, from level 1, which is GCSE level, end of high school, to level 8, which is doctorate level. And every one of you need to know, and probably by now, you know where you are on these levels. Some of you may be on level 1 or level 2, so you haven't finished high school yet for whatever reason. Some of you have your high school diploma, so level 2, but you need a level 3. A-level access course foundation year, and then that enables you to start a level 4 course in university. And some of you already have a level 6 bachelor degree, and you can start your postgraduate application. We talked in detail about if you don't meet, if you need to move to the like a higher level, what are the requirements? And if you don't have them, how you can achieve those requirements. For instance, if you don't have GCSE, you have functional skills instead, or you can go to a college and do GCSEs. The other thing that you need to have in mind is your level of language. For each level, you need to show your language proficiency as well. For instance, if you're trying to get into level 4, starting undergrad, you need ESOL level 2, or you need IELTS 6 based on the university. If you're planning to go from level 6 to 7, then most universities, they require you to have IELTS 6 or 6.5, some 7, but most 6, 6.5. If you have a master's, you are trying to go to a PhD, most universities, they want you to have IELTS 7 or above. So these are two main things. Where I am on this ladder, on which level, and then if I want to move up to a higher level, what do I need to do in terms of qualifications and in terms of the language? And when you know these two, then the rest of planning would be much easier. The second part, so the first part was about university, the second part was about non-university education. So for some of you, for whatever reason, not everyone is interested to go to university, and university is not the best option for everyone. So some of you may be more interested in having some kind of job-related training and then start working as soon as you can. And for them, so you need to, from different pathways, traineeship, apprenticeship, traineeship, NVQs, and BTECs. These are the 4 main options that you have. You need to find out which one is the best option for you and the best available option for you, because probably in some areas that you live, you may not have access to the apprenticeship that you want, but you can have NVQs instead. Or you may not have NVQs, but you can have BTECs instead. So try to see which is the best available option for you. And from there, depending on the previous experiences that you have, or the jobs that you are interested to, or the jobs that are more in demand, jobs that are more in need in this country, you can continue any of those options. And in the space of 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, you will be a highly skilled worker, and you start making the money that you need to manage your life. And there are financial support available as well, the same as university. If you want to go through any of those vocational training options, there are support available in terms of the loans or bursaries. This is, again, the framework if you decide to go to vocational route or going to, these are the options. And have in mind that many of these vocational qualifications, at the same time that they prepare you for jobs, you can use them to go to university as well. So for instance, instead of doing A-level or instead of doing access course, many people decide to do BTEC. And many universities, most universities, they accept BTEC as a level 3 qualification. So once you have a BTEC, then you can decide, do you want to use your BTEC to start a job, or do you want to use your BTEC to go to university, or both? Because there is no issue with starting university and having, like, being a full-time student and having a part-time job as well. And many people, they do it because, first of all, you make more money and you can have a more comfortable life for yourself and your family, but you have work experience at the same time that you study. So again, have all these options in mind. And the third topic that we covered in our course was about employment. Again, some people, they don't want to go to university, and what university is not the best option for them, or even they don't want to go through training. Probably they have some skills, they are a good plumber, a good electrician, a driver, or whatever, or they would like to learn by experience. They would like to start a job from entry level and then gradually making their ways up to better jobs. And for them, that's absolutely fine. Don't think that you need to go to university or you need to go to college. However, I would encourage everyone to have at least one training here in the UK, because with training, you improve your chance of having better jobs in long term and having better income in long term. Because if you start with no qualification, you improve slowly, and then there will be a ceiling for that. So you can just improve so much. But with a qualification, you improve more quickly, and then you can improve higher and go higher in terms of the jobs that you apply for and the income that you can make. So have that in mind. Having a qualification in 99% of the cases is better. It's time taking, it's difficult, but it makes everything much easier after that, because you improve more quickly, you can apply for better jobs, you make better money, and you will have a more comfortable life afterwards. So, but if you decide to start writing, and then there is no problem with the start working, and then probably next year you don't need to start everything together. Okay, so there is no problem with start working somewhere, and then in 6 months time, in a year time, in 2 years time, start having a qualification. Always have 30 years, 25 years, 40 years that you need to work ahead of you. Okay, 2 years, I work for 2 years, I have some experience, I save some money for my family, and then I go to college in 2026. There is no problem with that planning, as long as you have that plan, you know what you are doing. So if that's your decision to start working as soon as you can, then you need to understand your job market, and then what are the jobs that are more in demand here in the UK. You need to have a very good written CV, and more importantly, having a good cover letter, which we talked in detail about how to write a winning, successful cover letter or statement. You need to improve your skills in terms of being able in presenting yourself, because that's how the employment works in this country. They give you opportunity based on what you can write about yourself first in your written application, and then what you can say or present about yourself in your interview. So it's very important to prepare yourself, and it's not just about the language, it's about the content. What are you going to write, or are you going to say, which makes you the best person or the person that they want? And for that reason, you should be able to pitch yourself in short time, because in any interview, you don't have more than probably 3 to 4 minutes to answer any question, each of those questions. So you need to be able, and that requires preparation. So you need to practice and practice and prepare to be able to deliver a good interview or a good job application. And then start building your professional network. That could be through LinkedIn, but that there are other ways of creating links with people who can help you to find the jobs that you want. And we talked about different ways of creating that professional network in our sessions. So this was the framework that we covered in our employability sessions. And these are the main skills, the main 9 skills that every employer, from the very entry-level jobs in working in, I'm not sure, in McDonald's, to very top-level jobs working as a senior manager, every job advert, and I showed you this, every job advert is designed based on these skills. Therefore, if you are planning to apply for any job, or if you are planning to, or if you have any interview coming up, these are the areas that you need to show you are good in. So the questions are going to be about these skills, and you need to prepare yourself to be able to present yourself in terms of information technology. how good you are with using technology, or with resilience, or with self-management, or with teamwork. So my advice to you, it has been, have a list of skills and have one scenario for each. And you are familiar by now with SMART method. So have one scenario for each of these skills, write it on a piece of paper and practice it. Then whichever interview you go to or whichever job application you write, you can use the same scenario, which make the first time that you are developing that list, it takes time, maybe a week, 2 weeks, whatever. But then every time you can use them in new applications or new interviews. So make sure that you have you can prove in writing and in presentation and in kind of interview verbally how you are good in each of these skills, because I can't think of any job application or any job interview that you are going to without asking one question, two questions, any question, anything would be about this framework. So those are the three pathways that we covered in our course in 10 weeks. In terms of some practical guidelines, these are the main practical guidelines that I would like to suggest. First of all, have a clear understanding of your current situation. If you are still having doubts about what is my qualification in terms of the UK system, or what is the level of my language, then speak with someone, with a mentor, with a teacher who can help you and who can go through your qualifications, having like an interview with you and show you clearly where you are on in terms of the level of education, or in terms of the level of language, or in terms of the level of employability skills, and what kind of jobs you can start applying for. Then you need to set your achievable goals, short-term, mid-term, long-term, and I'm going to give you some advice on what are the goals that you need to plan for in the next 6 months, a year, and up to 3 years. Then start researching your options in terms of the courses, institutions, jobs. Next one is the most important one. If I want to say one advice is most important than the rest, is about seeking support from many refugee support organizations that we have here in the UK. So in the last 10 weeks, I shared with you probably, I'm not sure how many, 20, 30 different organizations that are available to support people from refugee backgrounds with their education, employment, training needs. So everything is easier if you have support from people who know how to support you. So for that reason, make sure that you are connected with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or more of these organizations who can provide you with support, with information, with training, with knowledge that you need for your planning and for following your plans. Language learning, I talked about language learning before. So make sure that you have something about learning language every day. And that could be easily listening to BBC News or Sky News on your way home when you're sitting in the bus. As simple as that. But make sure that every day you have some kind of contact with English. And that contact shouldn't be just in terms of listening. You need all those 4 skills to be trained together. So make sure that you have listening, speaking, reading, and writing, because it's easy to practice listening because you can just listen to something, but you need to find a way of practicing your writing, because that's the kind of skills that universities need, colleges need, or you need to have in many jobs. And writing could be as easy as having a piece of newspaper. Just find a free newspaper that you can find in a train station or in a bus, and then try to write something from that. Just choose a page and just read and write, as simple as that. But make sure every day you practice all these 4 skills, even for like half an hour. if you can move, better. The more that you practice, the sooner you get to the level that you want. But make sure that you're consistent and you do it every day. So support and language, these are the two most important things. Network, so try to get connected to people that you would like to be like them. So people that you would like, people who are successful in their education, people who are successful in employment, and they can support you in following your plans and getting to the stages that you want. And as I said, things take time, but if you continue moving forward, you get to the stages that you want. So have these practical skills, practical guidelines from me in mind. So this is the roadmap that I would like to suggest. Sorry, it's not large enough, but I was trying to have all of them in one slide. So first of all, if you are still waiting for your asylum claim, I understand how difficult it is, but that's not the end of the world. Okay? And that doesn't mean that you should sit and wait for your refugee status to come. There are many activities that you can do to prepare yourself for going to university, for having jobs, and so on, once you're waiting for your asylum claim to be processed. So first thing that everyone can do, you can improve your English, because that's important. So you can go to college, you can take a functional skills or ESOL course, or start some other courses like Olive, but we have similar courses to Olive in other places, or at least starting in most of you have access to internet, and there are many free of charge courses on YouTube or other platforms on internet. So I would say improve your English, that you don't need refugee status to practice your English, and asylum seekers can go to college and have ESOL, and then if during the time that you are waiting for your claim to be processed, if you get that level 2 ESOL, then you can use it to go to university. So for that, you don't need to have status. Once you're waiting, you can continue learning, improving your language, and try to have ESOL level 2, functional skills level 2, as soon as you can. That's like a key. With that key, you can open many doors of education, training, and employment. Learn more about the opportunities that you have. Okay, in many areas, there are community centers, there are charities, there are organizations with courses for that asylum seekers can attend free of charge. For some courses, you cannot register yourself because of the immigration status, but there are many courses that they don't need immigration status. I recently worked with 2 asylum seekers. One has done a free course in a community center on photography. The other one has done a free course in to become a teacher assistant. It was like a teaching assistant course. Both of them, they started working with those qualifications as soon as they got their refugee status. So they didn't waste the time that they were waiting for their claim. They found the opportunity. Photography course, it could be, I'm not sure, cake making course, bakery course, cooking course, or whatever. The other one, teaching assistant. And then they had the qualification, I think level 1 qualification, and then they used that to start a job right after, probably less than a month after having their refugee status. And then the third thing, sorry for the noise, I'm just waiting for the car to, just give me a second, I'm going to shut the window. Sorry for that. So, and then the third thing is working as a volunteer, because you don't have right to work, but you can volunteer. And many organizations, they give volunteer opportunities to asylum seekers. And that's super important, because volunteer work is not just good for your language. It helps you to have that time of every day, every week, practicing your at least practicing your listening and speaking with someone. It's very good for networking. So you start linking with other people who can help you and who can support you in your journey. You can add work experience to your CV because it doesn't matter if it's paid or volunteer. Any work experience adds value to your CV, and it's very good for your personal and mental health because you are not alone. You have some friends, you go out, you do some fun things, and most of the volunteer roles and volunteer jobs are rewarding because in those roles you support someone else and you help someone else, which is good for your confidence as well. So 3 main things: volunteer work, any kind of language training, and try to search and connect to see what are the opportunities within that city, town environment that you can use. In terms of midterm, hopefully you are going to have your claim process and you are going to hear back from Home Office soon, but that doesn't mean you don't need to plan. Have your plans in place and have plan 1 and plan 2 and plan 3. So if you are still asylum seeker in 3 to 6 months, then consider going to university and apply for sanctuary scholarship. So you can apply for university. You don't need refugee status. Asylum seekers can apply to university. Universities will give you the offer. The only issue would be how to pay and who is going to pay for them. And as I said, there are sanctuary scholarships available. So start looking into those opportunities of going to university. Keep expanding your network. Connect to as many people and organizations as possible for you who can support you in what you do, and develop skills. Just have that skills framework, those 9 skills in mind, and try to make yourself better. For many of those skills, you don't need to go to a training. You can improve your teamwork skills by doing volunteer jobs. You can improve your problem-solving skills by being involved in a community project. Okay, so try to think about what are the available options for you to improve your transferable skills and have evidence to put in your application or to talk about in your interview. So university options, scholarship options, building network, and improving your skills. And in long term, in the next 6 months to 12 months or a year, apply for university, because if you want to go to university on September 2025, you need to start preparing your application from now. And that doesn't matter if you're asylums. If you get your refugee status along the way, that's absolutely fine. You can continue with your application. So prepare your documents, get that language level that you want or the language qualification that you want, explore options for skills development, and then continue improving your language. So for you, if you are still waiting, these are the options that you can do, and you don't need refugee status to continue with this roadmap. If you have your refugee status and you are planning to apply for undergraduate, this is the roadmap that I would suggest, because going to university September 2025, as you probably remember, the deadline for application for most courses is end of January 2025, which means you have less than 3 months or less than 4 months, probably 3 months and a half to prepare your application. So you need to assess your qualification and English language level. If you need to top it up with anything, just try to do it. Research UK universities and courses that you are interested in and available to you, and explore the scholarship opportunities. Then you need to apply before the end of January in 3 months. For some courses, you will have time for kind of delayed application, but not for all. But you need to apply in the next 3 to 6 months. You don't need to have your language when you apply. So if you don't have your ESOL or if you don't have your IELTS, no problem. You can apply, you can register your application, and then you will have time. They will give you time to have your language qualification ready. Probably you are going to have 3 more months after January until probably March, April time to provide your language qualification. Begin and finish your UCAS application. Also, you need to start writing your personal statement for that application in the 6 to 12 months. So before the deadline, if you submit, you are going to have some offers. If you're a refugee, you don't need to be worried about a scholarship. You can use student finance to pay for your tuition fees, but you still have the option of sanctuary scholarships. And be prepared to go through some interviews, admission tests. Some universities may want to see, especially if you don't have language qualifications yet. Some of them, they may want to see you during an interview or during an admission test. And then hopefully, if you can start in 2025, your education, start your undergraduate study, engage in university life. So university is not just about going to a class and sitting in an exam and passing and having qualification. University is the kind of door, the gateway for you to enter the society. So make sure when you go to university, you are not just going to your class and sitting the lectures. There are hundreds of different opportunities, activities, societies, projects that you can join, which improves your language, your links, your connections, your employability, and improves the quality of your life, basically. And then in 1 to 3 years, then when you start your university, you need to, at the same time, you need to start thinking about what I would like to do post-graduation, which for most of you, it's about education. And it's about employment, sorry. And for that employment, having a university degree is not enough. You need to show that you have some work experience. And that's why it is important, alongside your study, you need to have a part-time job or a part-time volunteer job, whatever you can. But don't wait until the end of your undergraduate to start working. You need to start working, and most undergraduate students here in the UK, they have a part-time job. So make sure that alongside your study, you continue adding to your work experience as well. If you are planning to do postgraduate, which means you have undergraduate, this is the roadmap that I would like to suggest. Again, evaluate your undergraduate degree and try to see what postgraduate options you have here in the UK, and see how that postgraduate course can help you with your employment. Because graduate courses in the UK, they are just 1 year. Okay, they are too short and quick. And before you realize, you will be graduated. So it's very important to have plans in terms of how in 1 year, in 2 semesters, in 22 weeks, those courses are going to prepare you for employment. Because I worked with some people, they just started a postgraduate and they were thinking, oh, with that degree, I can start working. But no, unfortunately, degree without experience is not enough. So you should have clearly in mind that how that degree and what you are going to do during that 1 year in terms of using other resources to link you with the job market. Have a clear understanding of how an MSc in computer engineering can bring you a job, because the paper itself is not enough. You need to use university links to have some work experience, internships, graduate work opportunities, and so on and so forth. The number 3 is for those of you who are interested in research. I don't think that you are at this stage, anyone is planning to do research. But in the next 3 to 6 months, so if you are planning for postgraduate, you don't have a deadline of end of January, but you need to apply usually before 2 months before the start of the course, which means if it's September 2024, you need to apply June, July, July time, before the end of July, sometimes beginning of August, depending on the university. You need to have your language test be 2 months before, most of the time, before the start. Research proposal is for those who would like to. I don't think that someone here would like to do research. So the main thing is, in the next 6 months, you need to prepare your documents, language, and the qualification, on the undergraduate degree. You submit your application to the universities that you want, and unlike undergraduate, which is centrally done through UCAS, for postgraduate, you should reach out to universities one by one. So you need to decide how many universities you want to apply and send applications to each of them separately. Apply for scholarships. There are many universities with sanctuary scholarship for refugees for postgraduate studies as well. If not, you can use student financing grant for your tuition fee and for some support with your living expenses. And be prepared for some universities, they may have interviews or admission tests. And in 1 to 3 years, begin your postgraduate. But at the same time, this is important for many of you. I'm sure that many of you will go to universities next year or the following year or the next few years. But make sure you are actively engaged in a student life. Student life is not just going to lectures and coming back home. Okay, there are more than that you can achieve from university. Links to people. These are the people that are going to help you to find jobs. So make sure that you use whatever activity available. Whatever, there are many free of charge courses that you can take part in when you're a student. There are many language courses in universities, listening courses, presentation courses, writing courses, employability courses. So make sure that it's not just about your modules or your lectures. Use other available opportunities for training and improving your skills, and try to network as much as you can. Before moving to the next slide, we have a question here that says, what do you recommend, taught or research, postgraduate, or mix of both? Well, basically, these are for different purposes. If you are planning to have your MSc and enter job market, then taught courses. But if you are planning to continue your education, become a researcher, or continue with a PhD, then research could be more helpful. But you can use MSc taught for employment and for PhD, but do MSc research if you only want to become a researcher, or you want to become a PhD student. Because if you do research, MSc research, and then your options are limited. So I would say taught is good for both options, but research is only if you plan to become a researcher and you continue with a postgraduate course. Well, BTech in this sport, you can do it. Basically, if you are planning to continue your career in sport, you can. There are many BTech sport courses available. So there is no problem with doing BTech in sport, which prepares you to take up jobs in that sector, in terms of working in leisure centers, working for different clubs, FA clubs, other sports, and so on and so forth. So there are many opportunities. There are many apprenticeship opportunities as well. Many football clubs, they have apprenticeship opportunities. You can start with apprenticeship in, I'm not sure, Chelsea Football Club, and you can continue from there. Yes, for anything, there is a language requirement. But language requirement, it depends on the level of course, and it depends on the provider. So if you plan to start an entry-level apprenticeship, the language requirement is lower. So probably you need to have level 1 or level 2. But if you're planning to start from like a degree qualification apprenticeship, then you need to have higher requirements. But that's why I said language should be part of your everyday work, because for whatever you do, if English is not your first language, then they will require you to show your level of language. Sometimes it could be through a test, sometimes that could be through an interview, or different types of assessment. But well, for the BTEC course, we had a session about BTEC. You need to go back week 4 or week 5. We had sessions about BTEC. Go back to those slides and go back to the video for that week, and you can find whatever information that you need about BTEC. So make sure, Wilfred, you go back to the week 4 and 5, watch the video, see the slides, and there is a very clear guidance on how to find and apply for BTECs. If you are planning for employment, this is the roadmap that I would like to suggest. Again, the first important thing for everyone is to assess your skills and qualification and work experience and see how the quality and value of your experience and qualifications here in the UK. Search for job market and what kind of jobs are more in demand. Improve your English. These are the shared steps for everyone, regardless of who you are, which stage you are, how good you are in your English, how educated you are. These are for everyone. Then create your UK style CV. And most importantly, you need to have a very good cover letter. Start building your professional network and start going to job fairs. Probably you remember I introduced you to the UK National Career Service. And if you go on National Career Service, every month, every week, they have different job fairs in different areas of the country. Start going to job fairs in your area. And then employers coming to those job fair opening days, and then they can give you advice on how to apply, what kind of opportunities that they have, and how you can apply. For instance, like last week in Manchester, we had a job fair where employers from NHS, Manchester Airport, universities, they had representatives there and trying to recruit people, basically. In terms of your midterm goals, try to add experience, because the more experience you have, the higher the chance of having a better job. Apply for jobs, prepare yourself for interviews, consider additional training and qualification. Like I said, with a qualification, with a UK qualification, even like a 3 months, 6 months, a year NVQ, you are going to have more chances and better chances when you apply for jobs than when you don't have a qualification. And in long term, in the next 1 to 3 years, start securing employments and try to always look for better jobs, because in many countries, your first job is your last job. You probably, I'm thinking of my father, he retired in his first job. So he started working for a hospital and he retired 30 years later in the same hospital. But it's very rare in this country, in the UK, especially in the last 5-10 years of starting working here, you need always to look for better jobs. After a year, try to find a better job. 6 months, find a better job until you get to the level that you want. And like I said, consider career progression. So in terms of the teaching assistants, again, if you go back to week 3, there is I think week 4 or week 3, we talked about teaching jobs, Wilfred. If you go back to the session about teaching, then you can find all the information that you need. So that's what I said. These slides, many of them are not things that you need now, but maybe next month you need some information about teaching. Just come back to the slides and go to that session and watch the video and go through the slides and use the links. Okay, so most of the information that you need, they are available in the previous slides, and you have access to videos as well. Then if you have more questions, if you need more support, just drop me an email. And like I said, being connected with some organization, with some people is very important. It's very difficult to move forward without having the right support at the right time. And I shared with you many of them, or almost most of them that I'm aware of here in the UK. Again, I added a list here. I'm going to send these slides to you as well. And these are the useful newsletters. If you are not already part of these newsletters, please, please, please go and register your email with their newsletter, and they keep you updated with the latest opportunities, work opportunities, training opportunities, and so on and so forth, with all your employment and education requirements. And with that, this is the end of my presentation for today, which is our last week. I would like to thank you for consistently coming to my sessions, and I'm wishing you every success in your future plan, whatever you do. Like I said, always have that 3 Ps in mind. Have plans, then you need to have perseverance, and you need to work hard basically for what you would like to achieve, and don't be frustrated with setbacks and failures. I have the experience of probably working with, I would say, over 1,000 people in your situation. Many of them, or I could say most of them, they've been successful and they've been moving forward. Many of them, they are still in their journey. But if your plan is to go to enter university, enter college, find a job, don't worry, you're on the right track, and you will get what you want in the next year, 1 year, 2 year, 3 years, as long as you have your plan and you work hard towards your plan, and then you don't get disappointed by failures, and you get the right support that you need. Okay, so I'm going to start recording, because the next part is about